Hey there, film fans. I am Jeff,
I know, I'm Dave.
and we
With a
are
special report.
we are two-thirds of the podcast, The Love of Cinema, which you can find on Apple and Spotify and all of the other places you get your content. We are doing a special episode here without our other co-host, John, because the Oscar nominations just came out today.
Yeah.
And Dave, do you want to set up about what we've been doing with the award season here?
Well, we're doing a best of film, worst of film. We got some early odds on what was going to get nominated for both Oscars and Razzies. We're not going to talk about the Razzies right now. Catch last night's show if you want to hear all we have to say about the Razzies right now.
Yeah, Jesus.
But we did cover a lot of the potential Oscar nominated films, and now, of course, nominations are released. I got some messages from Jeff this morning, all in caps. We're going to cover that. And
yeah, I am definitely the one out of the three of us that gets so sucked up for no reason in this award season BS. I mean, well, we started doing this segment not because we wanted to. Well, I guess we did want to get caught up. We just wanted 2020's movies. We just wanted to see them all, first of all, to make sure that we were like accountable to see them and then talk about them. But having said that, I think can you agree that this year is just different because once the Oscars said they were going to happen and all of the other award shows sort of fell in line, it sort of became a mad dash of just like dumping and pumping movies for award bait within the last couple of months.
Once they changed the rules, it was like, okay, we've opened up like all sorts of things. There's one in particular I'm going to get to as we go down the list. But yeah, do you want to get started on it?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's start with the big storylines, or at least some of the big storylines that have come out in the past like 4 hours, and based on everything. First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and say we're not going to talk about the diversity of the list. It is a diverse list, especially compared to the past few years. I think if you were to go on Twitter or online, you can just feel Hollywood patting itself on the back. And for that reason, we're going to stay away from it. But things are headed in the right direction. And so I think that's all that I would say about that. So the other big stories is, I thought that because this year was sort of a mad dash and things were going to be, you didn't let the usual storylines get in the way. You know what I mean? Because it was all happening so fast. I thought we would see a lot more movies with 1 to 2 to 3 nominations, so there would be a lot of love, a lot of sharing of the wealth. And that did not happen this year. So the movies with the most nominations, you have Mank, which is in black and white, is nominated for 10 Oscars. And surprisingly not Best Original Screenplay, which is one of the most interesting storylines of this whole movie, is that David Fincher's dad wrote this screenplay in the 90s or maybe even earlier. And then David Fincher's been trying to make it in his dad's, posthumous honor. And that didn't get nominated, but they got 10 nominations. And then you have 5 movies with 6 nominations, 2 movies with 5. And yes, a lot of them are representing parts of award season that hadn't been noticed before, but just like every year, it just sort of becomes like these are the 8 movies of the year. And I was really thinking that this could be the year that would snip that. Did you notice that too?
when you texted me this morning and the follow-up texts and everything, I thought you'd be madder. I thought you'd be like pumped, but you seem so very calm. I don't know what you did just before we started this, but
we're not as drunk as we usually are on our podcast. That's
we're hungover from last night's show, but I don't know. I feel like there's a couple, like I said, there's a couple of things in there that really surprised me. And there's a couple of things I'm happy happened.
Nice. Well, let's name the films really quick, and then we can get into like big stories / our initial takeaways. So Mank with 10. The films with 6 nominations are Nomadland, which is a potential front runner for some of the big ones, Minari, Judas and the Black Messiah, Sound of Metal, Trial of the Chicago 7. With 5 nominations, you have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Promising Young Woman. News of the World somehow has 4 nominations, and then One Night in Miami and Soul have 3, and I'm sure there are more in that area. But to think that Mank, Nomadland, Minari, Judas, Sound of Metal, Trial of Chicago 7, Ma Rainey and Promising Young Woman, that's the year in film based on what's getting the most nominations was surprising. But yeah, it's hectic in that way. Defy Bloods is snubbed. The only nomination was score, so that's surprising. Could that be because they released too early? I don't know. The other really
it could
big-
also
yeah,
be
sorry.
because he doesn't really participate. I mean, it's almost like
Yeah.
an indie film, so they don't put the budget for an Oscar campaign in there.
Right. Very clearly,
And
Ma
Oscar
Rainey's Black
campaigns
Bottom-
cost money
yeah,
because
and
you're
Ma
up
Rainey's
against
Black Bottom,
studios who will just throw money at this thing.
well, and then in it's there is a Netflix film, but Netflix was spread thin, so that's why I keep saying like Ma Rainey, Trial of Chicago 7, Mank, these are all on Netflix. Hillbilly Elegy, which got a couple of nominations, that they probably had to really fight for. So Netflix is well represented there. So that's another huge storyline. In fact, almost all of these ones that we just mentioned, part of the reason that we have seen a lot of them is because they are all streamable. So this is not. Is this a year for independent film?
Maybe.
According to awards?
Also nobody has an excuse not to have seen a lot of these Oscars nominations this year. But this might be a year for a lot of independents to sneak across the line.
Right. Well, a lot of them got distribution, but they were filmed as independents. So that's cool. Borat was not one of them, but shout out to Borat's 2 nominations there. Okay, a couple other.
I never thought I'd see the day.
Maria.
Let's not skip ahead. Do you want to?
Sorry. Yes. Okay. So Regina King snub. That's going to be a huge storyline.
Yes.
And that's ridiculous. So she was nominated for almost anything. We're going to get more when we get into the categories that the guilds, Writers Guild, Directors Guild, Screen Actors Guild, that's always your best precursor for nominations for Oscars, way more so than the Golden Globes or any of the other ones. And she was not nominated for the DGA, but she was nominated for Best First Time Director, which is cheeky by the DGA, I would say. But she was there, whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's out of this, and then Thomas Vinterberg for another round. Now he's a great filmmaker. I've seen his other films. This is just as surprising because nobody saw this coming. So I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but it does suck that it takes Regina King out. And we just talked about One Night in Miami this week, so that's a bummer. Jesus. And then the last big picture storyline that I had was Leslie Odom Jr. is going to pull a Lady Gaga. He's got 2 nominations, and then I think he's going to win Best Song for the final song in One Night in Miami. Damn.
Yeah.
What are the other like storylines that stuck out to you just in the first couple hours of this sort of release?
I mean, I've been working all morning, so I've quickly. This is my lunch break. We're doing this.
Great.
So I haven't caught any of the socials to come off this yet. I imagine you've been following it like crazy.
Yeah.
All morning when you could. But yeah, I feel like there's I can't wait to see what Twitter has to say about the Borat one.
They're small nominations. It's not like it's up for Best Picture or anything, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's original screenplay, which is funny because they improvise half the script. But
I mean, it's definitely an interesting field. I will say that, like all round.
Yeah. Why don't we take a look at some of the categories?
Sure.
All right.
Let's bring up Best Picture.
All right. So Best Picture is basically chalk, which is what I'm gonna say when it's basically like what you'd expect. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying these are the best pictures, but The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, The Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7.
And we haven't. John's seen Minari, but you haven't seen Minari yet.
No, that's soon on our list.
Yeah,
so is Promising Young Woman.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't seen 3 of these.
Out of the ones we've seen, Nomadland's the favorite for sure.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
What do you think about Trial of Chicago 7? Because this is one of those movies that in the 90s it would have just come out and it would have been a huge thing, but it probably wouldn't have gotten any nominations. And now just 2021, here we are. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, script was solid, editing was solid, directing was solid. Like, it wasn't. I know, definitely given the field that we've got, it probably does deserve to be in there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I think so too. I don't mind it too much, but I'm sure there's a bunch of people that it's polarized.
I mean, I remember raving about the editing at the beginning of that, and it was like
editing's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to that. Well, yeah, I don't have much to say about that. I really love Sound of Metal. This is one of those little movies that it's sort of like in the Whiplash world where it's probably not going to like win, but
I'd love to see an upset win for that, to be honest.
I mean, yeah. Now, fortunately, Nomadland it's a favorite, but at the same time, it's not like it's not like one of the old Warner Brothers pictures. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like even though it's a favorite, an upset beating that is not the same as an upset beating like
True.
Titanic.
I mean, yeah. To be honest, Nomadland would be my pick. Well, I mean, we'll go through our picks at some point.
I think yeah, we'll do it. We'll do our picks. I'm also happy for the Judas and the Black Messiah because I've seen a lot of polarizing things about that from many different people with many different points of view. Most people think just were empowered by it. It was just a film that really made your heart beat. But I just people say, oh, it's flawed or the narrative. We're going to talk more about the point of view work between the two different characters. Was it a biopic? Wasn't it? Why was the angle so much about the FBI? Is this about Fred Hampton or is it about the FBI tracking him down? So that kind of like tore people apart. But at the same time, I'd rather have that conversation than to see this film be left off. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm a little surprised Mank's in there.
I mean, the Mank with 10 nominations.
I mean,
it's a movie about movies.
Yeah, true.
You know what
Hollywood does love that.
And you know what I heard too is somebody basically saying, you know what, David Fincher, thanks for just being honest with us. Is a take that I heard. I think I forget who.
That's fair. La La Land. This is not.
Right. Well, La La Land was gushing. And I like La La Land a little bit, but Mank, he's just like, look, I like movies. I like old movies. I like the way Hollywood worked. I liked the social and political upheaval in the 30s. So fuck it. Mank. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't swear on this here podcast, but there were some people that almost appreciated how David Fincher was shameless. Just like, yeah, I like this. If you don't give it awards, whatever. I think this is good stuff.
All right.
Anyway, but yeah, let's move on to so acting categories next, obviously, right? So the actress in a leading role, again, is chalk. It's what's expected. I don't think it's exactly what the director's guild.
Actress is next.
Oh, I meant to say actress. Best actress in a leading role, yes. It's basically what I think it's exactly the same as the Golden Globes. And then the SAG Awards didn't have Andra Day in there, which is very surprising. And it's not just because she won a Golden Globe, but this is next on our list this week. And she deserves to be in here by all accounts, just in our little preliminary look at it. But yeah, Viola Davis, Andra Day, Vanessa Kirby, Frances McDormand, Carey Mulligan. Chalk. Anybody? We don't give your picks, but is there any surprise, or is that pretty much what you expected?
I mean, I haven't seen Promising Young Woman yet. But I haven't seen Pieces yet.
So I guess we have some work to do on this.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Ma Rainey. I mean, I called that. I was like, yeah. Even though technically she could be classed as the amount of time she's seen, could be classed as supporting actress.
I'm surprised they didn't try. Yeah, especially given. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
All right.
And Chad, they were like, he's a lead. So anyway, back to leading actor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Billie Holiday this week. So
yes, we're very excited about Billie Holiday as our next film to be discussed.
All right.
So actor is the same as Screen Actors Guild, almost the same as the Golden Globes. So this is Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey, Anthony Hopkins' father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Stephen Yuan. Is that how you say that name? Minari?
Yuan?
I was not much of a Walking Dead fan, unfortunately.
I don't know.
Apologies, guys. Stephen Yuan. So this is great. If you've been following the award season, that sort of Stephen Yuan slot is sort of circled.
We're botching that, I'm sure.
We're such a dick. We usually just drink during this and move on, but I feel worse during the day.
I can't pronounce things sober.
I saw somewhere that Riz Ahmed was the first Muslim to be nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role. Certainly he's definitely representing an underrepresented sect of this. But his performance was so good.
Yeah.
It's like that would be a fun upset, although it's probably going to be Chadwick. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not undeservedly either. Like they would. I haven't seen Anthony Hopkins yet, but I would say it'll be like they're the two powerhouses, Ahmed and Boseman.
And then the snubs were Delroy Lindo, which is a bummer because
although again I'm yet to see Minari, so
right.
I could amend that in the weeks to come.
Yeah, John was all about this one. So and then no to Tahar Rahim of the Mauritanian, which just got totally left out in this. But so yeah, that's your list for Best Actor in a Leading Role. I think it's a pretty good list.
Supporting actor.
Okay.
Strap yourself
Okay.
in.
Sacha Baron Cohen, Trial of the Chicago 7. Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah. Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami. Paul Raci. Fuck
Yes.
yeah, we got our Paul Raci nomination for Sound of Metal. That's so great. And then Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. Okay, so
Now I saw a tweet this morning.
Yeah.
From you asking a very pointed question. Let's delve into that. Right
Okay,
from the bat.
so my question was, who is the lead of Judas and the Black Messiah if it's neither Judas nor the Black Messiah? And I was not actually the only one to make that reference.
Yeah.
I think Variety or somebody was like, both Judas and the Black Messiah are nominated. I'm not unhappy that they're both nominated because I love their performances. But here's the thing. We did a segment on our show that was, is this category fraud? And ultimately we decided yes. And John's reason was, well, they gave us so much of him alone with his girlfriends, became his partner. So we saw so much of his like intimate moments that it's hard to discredit his importance to the story. It's not just about the infiltrator, right? It's a dual film. In order to do category fraud correctly, like the two popes did last year, you make one of the popes the lead and the other one not the lead, and even though it's about two popes, you can get away with it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt is probably a co-lead in that film, but at least Leo is the lead and he's the supporting. If both of them are the supporting, then I don't know what this movie's about. This is not Modern Family. So one of them is the lead of this movie. You have to make Lakeith the lead to justify Daniel Kaluuya in this category. If they're both in this,
did you just compare Judas and the Black Messiah to Modern Family?
Well, just because none of them were ever leads, because it was
ensemble.
All these different ensembles, the snapshots and stuff. This. I don't know.
I mean, that might be the way they get around it. It's an ensemble cast. There is no lead.
I mean, it would have to be. But then do you throw Jesse Plemons in there as like an important story? I guess so. And that's the flaw that people had with this movie in the first place, is there was too much spreading around. But I don't know how you don't call Lakeith. I read a Variety prediction thing 4 days ago that had Lakeith as number 7 in line for lead actor. 4 days ago, even Variety didn't know that he was going to be a supporting actor. And Variety is pretty well informed. So I just think this whole thing, you gotta do better with your category fraud there, Judas and the Black Messiah. But then again, and this is the thing, I'm very happy that they're nominated. Their performances are great, and I'm happy if we continue to talk about.
I mean, it is a legitimate question that someone should probably have to answer. But yeah, you're great for the nominations. I mean, well deserved.
It's very well deserved. As far as I know, the people who could have been on this list, I mean, Glyn Turman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom gave a really, really nice supporting performance that I thought could be in here. Jared Leto, I'd like Jared Leto, but I don't mind him not necessarily being here so much. Chadwick Boseman for Defy Bloods. So there are other.
True.
This is a year that, because he's already nominated and Jared Leto's Jared Leto, like, I guess this is even more of a year than normal to be able to get away with this.
None of this matters because Paul Raci's in there and he's going to win.
Fuck yeah, he's not going to win, but that's so great, Paul Raci. Good job. Kaluuya's going to win. I'm just saying, you gotta convince us better, I think. Not the Academy, just the fact that it's just blatant, we want stars in here, and then the supporting roles that are really essential and really helpful. All of those supporting looks that Glyn Turman and that whole ensemble gave to Chadwick Boseman's character. Basically, the Academy's like, we just don't care about those supporting roles as much anymore. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer for me. But again, the performances of Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya were both fucking awesome. Kaluuya's going to win, so it's good. He deserves it.
All right. Should we move on?
I don't know. Have I said the same thing over and over again enough, or is that okay?
I think we're good.
Actress in a supporting role. Maria Bakalova.
Okay, now I haven't seen the Borat sequel yet. Should this be there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I get it. She's holding character the entire time, but this is almost like nominating Johnny Knoxville.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I think that this comparison.
This is a step out of the stuffiness they usually have associated with Oscar nominations.
The comparison this gets is Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids. She hangs with Sacha Baron Cohen in a way that's surprising. There are a couple of moments where I held my breath, wondering how Sacha Baron Cohen was going to be responding to her, out Sacha Baron Cohening her, and most of it's offensive. Okay. So I don't want to say here and exploit it for comedy.
No, that's fair.
But there are some moments where somebody says something to her, and she fires back so fast that it really catches everybody off guard. It is, and just the Rudy Giuliani scene, the fact that this unknown actress had the cojones to do that, and then chase Robert Giuliani out the door, telling him, she's so excited to be like meeting him. Like it's really something.
All right.
And she's nominated for everything.
And
SAG. So
yeah, Glenn Close. She made it.
Close.
She made it.
She deserves it. She
Yeah.
deserves to make
Also
it.
nominated for a Razzie, just in case you've
bullshit.
missed what we're doing. And
bullshit
yeah,
Razzies.
you can definitely hear our opinion on that in last night's show.
Man, the Razzies had fun this year. We had fun like playing with the Razzies for some of the
Yeah,
things. And this
did, and then it just got sour.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a shame.
Olivia Colman. I haven't seen The Father. That's on our list of things we have to see.
But yeah, that's coming soon.
Amanda Seyfried. I'm very surprised about that one.
Yeah.
Um,
she was not nominated for everything, but she was nominated for a Golden Globe, I think. But yeah, it's still surprising.
Yeah, I mean, great. She made the list, but I'm just surprised that she's there.
Yeah, and then Yoon Yoo-jung for Minari. So those are our 5.
Minari's racking up a lot.
Yeah, Minari got 6. That was one of the movies with 6, and a lot of them are in the big categories, which is why it's going to continue to get attention. So some of the noticeable absences. Some people thought Dominique Fishback, who was awesome in Judas and the Black Messiah, she has an awesome like renegade, what a way to go out kind of scene at the end of her storyline. But Jodie Foster won the Golden Globe for The Mauritanian.
Yeah.
And so again, the Golden Globes aren't the best predictor of this. The SAGs are, and this is pretty similar without Amanda Seyfried. So it's anybody's game, I get whoever wins the SAG will become the front runner, but
be watching the SAG
between Glenn Close and Olivia Colman again. We have not seen Minari, but I would not be surprised if that one sort of came in there too. So what an interesting category to circle.
And then director.
So director, as we alluded to before, and you know what actually kind of got me mad here. So the BAFTAs nominated, I think 4 women out of 6 categories. So I saw an article that was like 2 women nominated for best director, first time ever maybe. And I feel like that's such a middle finger to Regina King, who is snubbed. So we have Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. You have David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. So Chloe Zhao is probably going to win based on everything that we know about how these award season
And
work.
it's funny because in this category, I've only seen 2 of these.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? We've been doing what we thought was a pretty good job of keeping up here. But Another Round is, I don't think it's in English, which is fine. It's obviously, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it was just a really surprising inclusion. Now the guy's awesome. He made Far From the Maddening Crowd, and another movie I can't quite remember that was really good. Mads Mikkelsen is the lead of this, and he's been in it. I'm just surprised. Like how many people didn't vote for Regina King? I don't know. It's just surprising to not see her on there.
I'm a little surprised she's not there because as we mentioned last night, like that film was incredibly well directed.
Yeah. Well, just to take this storyline and run, like, oh my God, there are 2 females directed, which is great. It really it's so strange because there's a giant gaping hole in that theory, and that's the fact that there should be 3, or Regina King should be nominated anyway.
I'm not sure if that's coming through on my audio, but my upstairs neighbor, I think, is hiding a body or something. It's
oh yeah,
clunk, clunk, drag.
Should we invite her on the show?
Someone's dead up there.
Should we invite her on?
No, she's not coming to my house.
Good point. Screenplay is next. Okay, so the 2 screenplay categories, similar but different than the Writers Guild again here. So original screenplay is always one of my favorite categories because yes, it's original. So all these movies were made from scripts, and these ones were, the person who came up with the idea usually writes the screenplay, and they build these from scratch. So it's cool. Judas and the Black Messiah, which first of all should, just for the title alone, should be on here. That is such a good title. But yet, awesome script. Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. That's Aaron Sorkin. How much do you love it that they didn't even put in who wrote the script?
Yeah, I know, right? It's we don't want to mention them.
This list we're looking at, we're like, the actors, but yeah,
it's mainly because it's possibly because who wrote the script comes out in a lawsuit after the Oscars. So.
Or somebody sues and says, "This was my idea. Yeah. I sold it for $10,000 so I could buy a car."
So they don't want to commit just until it all gets sorted out in court.
We're kidding. Okay, so the obvious.
Not kidding. That happened.
The obvious misses here are Mank, which is nominated for a lot. That's the most surprising thing about this, and it's David Fincher's father.
I'm not surprised Chicago 7's in there. That is like one of the few like Sorkin written films that I like.
Yeah. If you're rooting for the little guy, you might be a little bummed, wealthy Aaron Sorkin with a Netflix film. But at the same time, it's the least Aaron Sorkin film. I thought he did the best job of getting it all in there. Did he cover the social riots enough? No. Did he turn Sacha Baron Cohen's character a little too flamboyant? Maybe. But it doesn't matter. Like, in movies, you make decisions, and the decisions they made, I think, worked for the movie. And then the last thing is Palm Springs. I thought Palm Springs could get in there, but
I'm disappointed Palm Springs didn't get a nod for something, especially,
This is original screenplay. They took an old idea and they turned it into something really unique that was charming and that a lot of people really loved.
If it was going to get anything, I thought it would have got a nom for writing.
But then again, if you look at this list, kudos to all of them.
That is some good writing up there on that list.
Yeah. A Sound of Metal, Minari, like these stories just deserve to be nominated for stuff. So
sorry. And we're gonna swing down to adapted screenplay, and I have questions.
Is it because of Borat's subsequent movie film? Is adapted screenplay?
What the fuck is that adapted from?
No, I think if it's a sequel, so it's adapted from the character of the first one. But
really, that qualifies?
Yeah. That's a
that's a thin.
I don't think they wrote a comic book and adapted it. But also,
they didn't pull a Noah.
I mean, I'll never forget the first time that I was not watching the Kardashians, but I was in somebody else's house because I promise you I don't like that, even though I watch other reality television, Dave. Sorry.
It's the buzzer.
When I saw writer for a Kardashian episode, I went, there's a fucking writer for this show? Like, what? They're writing this?
Yeah,
and in
hindsight, of course they do. None of it's real.
In hindsight, I think the writers of the Kardashian wrote more of the script than the Borat writers did, and there are like 7 people nominated for writing. So is it the framing of the scenes ahead of time? Like, this is the storyline, like basically the story idea becomes the script. I don't know.
I mean, was it is everyone credited as a writer who performed the scene because it was all improv?
Yeah, I don't know, but this is at the same time. This is the same reason that I thought Palm Springs should be nominated, which is it's a good movie, it's interesting, it's unique. Where else are you going to give it a nomination against all these other powerhouses? Yeah. So let's do it. Put it here. It's an important film, I guess. Borat trying to call out all these people. Anyway, so that's that. The Father, based on a play. Nomadlands. Based on a novel, which is sort of a memoir. One Night in Miami, based on a play. And then The White Tiger. This is a really cool... Again, this is what this Oscar should be.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I actually did see this one, and it's really cool. It's based on a book, and it's set in India. So this is like... And it is a Netflix film now. So
cool.
This is what I thought they would be this year. Is these films
I'll give that a watch during the week.
I'm happy that that's in there. Is anything missing from here? Ma Rainey's Black Bottom... News of the World was nominated for some stuff, but that's the Tom Hanks movie. All right, so the next categories are smaller categories, so let's do them. Maybe we'll do them quickly. I haven't
international
seen
feature. Yeah, we know nothing about the international feature film. We've been a bit slack about. I mean, cinemas aren't open; you can't go and see them, and it's kind of hard. Let's we'll get around to international feature film, I guess, at some point. I'm very interested in the Quo Vadis. That's been getting a lot of talk, and obviously another round. But yeah, animated feature.
I've seen Soul. I saw half of Onward, and I need to finish it.
I saw Onward and Soul. I didn't see Shaun the Sheep.
Right.
Armageddon.
It's such a good title.
It's such a good title. I haven't seen Over the Moon, and I haven't seen Wolfwalkers, so I need to hunt those down.
What do you think about Soul, though? Because Soul has 3 nominations.
I mean, they did. There is some animation techniques they used, combining MIDI files with Houdini VFX to basically allow the CG model to play, like to mimic the playing of the actual piano, based on footage. And so, like, for that sort of thing, and the depth that they went into there. So, like, when you see the fingers on the piano in the movie, it's for real. It's like, that's the notes that are being played. That sort of thing, maybe that'll get it across the line. Onward is kind of, it's straightened by the numbers. There's a little bit of, like, decent magical visual effects in that, but I feel like if it came down to just the big studio releases, Soul would pip it.
Yeah, Soul.
but
Yeah, I think
I haven't seen the other ones, and there's sometimes if you throw in a stop frame, or which I think is Shaun the Sheep stop frame this time.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Sorry.
but if you throw in that or a traditional animation, sometimes they'll kick the ass of the CG stuff.
Documentary feature. I've only seen My Octopus Teacher out of this list, but The Mole Agent, Crip Camp, Collective, and
Yeah, I
Time.
was having a year where I didn't really want to deal with reality, so I haven't
same.
haven't seen a lot of them.
All right, so now this is a huge
Editing.
award usually because it does usually correlate to, well, you know what, historically it correlated with Best Picture, and then in the past 10 years it sort of became a chance, similar to how there's been a lot of splitting director and picture. Film editing used to be like whatever won Best Picture usually got film editing, and it almost never won without getting Best Picture nomination. They really went hand in hand. The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm a little surprised that there isn't a Whiplash in here, or an Ex Machina, one of those kinds of films.
Yeah,
these are
although
all sort of chalk.
out of that group, I just based on the intro of the film, I would put Chicago 7.
I would too. So the question coming back to Chicago 7 from an earlier segment we did, does the fact that this movie was a big movie, an Aaron Sorkin movie with stars, many of whom were older than their characters, this is just Hollywoodizing, but also it's important, but like, is it enough to get voters to just kind of go, maybe I'll give it to Nomadland?
Maybe. I mean, Nomadland did have some punchy editing as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the editing, like the thing that made me sit back and go, wow, that was a great edit, was Chicago 7.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sequences I've seen of everything, Promising Young Woman is up in a week or two for us. It looks like the sequence, especially like the sequence of the film, is supposed to be like really well shot on everything I've read. But yeah, I don't know. You might be right. It might be Trial of Chicago 7, or it might be Nomadland, just for continuity of the other categories.
All right.
Cinematography, this is yours.
Cinematography.
It's your account.
Okay, so we got Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, which I haven't seen, Nomadland, and Trial of Chicago 7. I mean, Mank did some amazing things with cinematography, but so did Nomadland.
Yeah, it's got to be between the two, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised The Five Bloods wasn't thrown in here, because they had like different aspect ratios, different cameras, different they were using a mixture of film and digital. It was like, I'm surprised that's not in there. I would probably throw that to Nomadland, because like I said, like a lot of the cinematography there and some of those scenes, he was just in the right place at the right time, capturing people effectively that weren't actors. And also, it's almost like some of the shots that he got with, like, because a lot of it is backlit because that's the style, and like some of the shots with the sun in the background, it's like they just waited for the right moment and got it in one.
Yeah,
the whole thing looks beautiful. It adds to what's going on. It really does increase the feel of the film. So I feel like Nomadland will get that one.
Yeah, I think it's kind of between those two too. What do you think about the fact that cinematography now is accessible if you have money? Like Mulan looked great. Like what do you think that things are changing as far as what they would scale like for cinematography? Like how do you award cinematography when there's just not as much technologically surprising? Like there's not going to be a Gravity every year, right? So like,
yeah. No, I think in that case it's not just use of the camera, it's how the camera fits with the story. Like we were talking about, to repeat a point from the show that we're dropping tonight, when they were doing One Night in Miami, it's the camera becomes the fifth person in the room.
Yeah.
So your camera becomes a character. In this case, you were an unseen observer, and the camera made you a part of the community. It's like, if it can mesh with like the message of the film, the themes of the films, like these guys, it's not just like turn up on the day and shoot. These guys are doing camera test after camera test after camera test. They're testing lenses. They're like, there's a lot of work that goes into setting up these beautiful shots. Yeah. And when they pull it off, you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I wish Da 5 Bloods is in there too, based on what you just said, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good accomplishment. I did like that. But like I said, Nomadland, I think or Mank,
right.
we'll pull that.
this could be the Mank like 1 out of 10. You know, and like a huge movie only wins one. It could be this. Original score: Five Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, Soul. We got to see News of the World apparently.
We got to see News of the World. I was throwing that one around early on. I was like, it's gonna come in.
I saw something recently that News of the World score was up there. This could win, but
cool.
So could Soul. So not only do you have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, but you also have John Batiste, who did all of the piano work, a lot of which Dave was talking about before with Soul. So, you know, Soul won the Golden Globe, but then I wouldn't be surprised if they spread the wealth a little bit. I'm not sure.
I'm going to move down because I want to talk about Best Music Original Song.
Let's do it. Fight for You, Judas and the Black Messiah, Hear My Voice, The Trial of the Chicago 7.
What?
Oh, Husavik, Eurovision Song Contest. That's
if this says anything, it's like Dare to Dream, kids.
Oh my god, yeah, exactly.
Like one of the most bagged out movies of the year has an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song.
It's apparently people like sing it in Iceland. Like I don't know. I heard a Will Ferrell documentary where he said that. EOC for The Life of Head. Apparently that song means scene. And then Speak Now, which is Leslie Odom Jr.'s song from One Night in Miami.
Yeah.
Good category, but yeah, Husavik is just fun. It's like
when, I'm glad it's in it. It's like the year South Park got nominated for Blame Canada, yeah. One of the best performances of Robin Williams ever. Look it up on YouTube.
And then sound. Sound is now one category here.
Sound is now one category.
Greyhound. Is that another Tom Hanks movie? It is, right?
It is, yes.
Mank, News of the World, Soul, Sound of Metal.
I mean, I'm going to be very surprised if Sound of Metal. I haven't seen News of the World and Greyhound, but I'm going to be very surprised if Sound of Metal doesn't get that. Because half of that film is sound or the absence of.
Right. Yeah. Unless for some reason they get the people from Soul doing a nice campaign to tell everybody what they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like Sound of Metal too. Just watching the digression of him losing his hearing. Visual effects. Love and Monsters.
Where the films that didn't quite make Best Picture go to die.
The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet.
All right, so here's my issue here. Tenet ran a massive campaign about 90% of our effects are practical.
Those 10% though are going to be really great.
I mean, practical effects count. Like practical visual effects count, because there is no straight up digital effects thing. So that might get it across the line.
Yeah.
In the fact that like when we need an effect of crashing a plane into a hangar. Okay, let's crash a plane into a hangar.
Midnight Sky is campaigning,
which apparently was cheaper than doing it in CG.
Which is
I guess, you know, like, did you shoot during the pandemic when no one's using their planes?
No, you don't pay people, you pay stuff.
Yeah. I think Mulan's out. Yeah. I don't think that, like, there's a lot of visual effects stuff in that, but I feel like Midnight Sky,
that's it, yeah,
is just on production design and the unique design of the ships. I haven't seen Love and Monsters yet. I need to give that a look. And I haven't seen One and Only Ivan. So Tenet's on the list, and apparently we have to do that because John Cena wants to talk about it. But he made us wait for WandaVision, so you can just sit tight.
Yeah, John. Yeah. He hasn't even finished WandaVision yet. Production design: The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. I think The Father and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom are probably out, but cool that they're in here.
Mank has a shoe in. Like they might.
Mank could get this one.
Mank could definitely get this.
Yeah. So could Tenet, I guess, but
I mean, Ma Rainey's might, given the location design,
and
stuff, like, because they were all sets. We haven't seen News of the World, so that one's a little early to call for us. But
yeah, usually ones that spend money on.
I think Mank might get across the line on that.
Yeah. Costume design: Emma, Ma Rainey, Mank, Mulan, Pinocchio.
Did Pinocchio get released? Damn.
Yeah. It's probably going to be Emma, right? Like costume design.
They do tend to sometimes go with the period pieces, but I don't know. I mean, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom technically is a period piece now.
Too. There just aren't that many.
So is Mank.
That many characters. Mank. Yeah, exactly.
Even Mulan could be a shoe-in for this.
Yeah. Again, I wonder if the voters most voters seem shameless, Academy voters, but at the same time, I wonder if it's just one to stay away from with the controversy stuff in the news. They stayed away from Zero Dark 30, so I wonder if like for something like Mulan, even though they voted on it to get nominated,
True.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
how that kind of
probably
stuff
Emma or Ma Rainey's. No, actually, sorry, Mank. I would say Mank for this.
works. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm throwing back a category. Yeah, no, Emma Ma Rainey's, I think.
Yeah, that's a good guess for now. We'll see.
Makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah.
I
Emma,
mean,
Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. Again, Pinocchio. What the hell?
yeah. Hillbilly Elegy could be in for this because
We've read nothing about these categories, people. This is just having seen the movies.
Having seen the movies, Ma Rainey's is great as well. With what they do to her.
Yeah.
Mank, I guess. Yeah. That's a tough call. Like that one, I don't know anything about the process behind a lot of this stuff. I just go with like what I saw, and I was like, that was really cool. So that's. And again, I haven't seen Pinocchio. I didn't even know it got released.
Yeah, exactly.
So good for you, Pinocchio.
Good for them. But with that, I haven't seen any of the shorts yet. I usually wait until this time period. Same thing with documentary shorts.
Yeah.
So that's it. The actual awards take place on April 25th. Are you rooting for any movies or anything, or do you think you covered it all?
I think I covered it all. Like I'm behind. I want Nomadland and I want Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, that would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I'm seriously starting a Razzie campaign. Like someone else is getting that.
But
Anne Hathaway, sorry, it's probably your year.
Yeah, it's just stupid because now there's like historical precedent for like being nominated in the same year for both shows, and this is just so stupid. It's so dumb.
I'm just saying. I'm not even kidding. If she did get the Razzie for worst and then won the Oscar for exactly the same role, I want to see her smash that Razzie to pieces on stage at the Oscars. Just bring a hammer. Just bring a hammer with you. Go to town.
She finally wins an Oscar, and it's not about the Oscar. It's about destroy. I mean, it would be such a moment. That would be so great.
I'd do it.
She would have to accept the Razzie in order to do that.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think I'm rooting for Sound of Metal to win one of these, even though it's not going to, except for maybe Sound.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have too many other ones that I'm really rooting for.
In that case, we need to go and watch the rest of these movies, and time will tell.
See y'all. Good doing this, Dave.